Of that organization. Every time we come to elections, people have the hope that the situation will change. From time to time, that hope has not materialized. It is my promise to you that we'll break that cycle. We'll break that cycle because I have a strong belief in the leadership philosophy that I carry out. I've seen it work, and I have the confidence that it will provide dividends. I believe that a leader must be a servant in the true sense of the word. They must lead by consensus, by persuading the followers that they are following the proper course of action, that there will be a benefit to those that are being led. This is the only way you can get support for your programs and support for your agenda. And your agenda has to be the agenda of the people you lead. There is no other way to success except the leader mirroring the vision of the people that they lead. You have to do that by listening, by cooperation, by being humble. And those who have experienced my leadership will attest to you that this is my nature. A leader cannot be too proud to follow. Sometimes the best way to lead is to follow. There's a saying that in order to be a leader, you must first follow. I truly believe in that. What I want to do to break the cycle I spoke of is to carry out a vision which starts with the core elements of an organization. And I think the first core element of our organization that has been problematic is the structure. We have a structure that encourages politics rather than service. We have a structure that elects a board of directors, gives them powers, elects a president, gives them powers, and in the end, they clash. And our culture does not really blend into that structure to make it work for us. So I believe the first step in making a change is to change the structure. And the structure that I emphasize for this organization is the nonprofit corporate structure. The sooner we get that in place, the sooner we can achieve what we want to achieve. And what I would like to see is to see a board that is expanded to about 12 persons. That's subject to discussion and consensus. Out of those 12, we will elect 9 from among ourselves. The Liberian community will elect 12 of those members. And then we will bring in 3 outsiders, non-Liberians, but very influential people. People who have access to powerful people, people who themselves are powerful people, who can help us to access resources in the society because, as it was said earlier, the Somalis have access to resources so they can afford to send 50 people to nurses' aid training every month. We need to bring people on board who will help us to access resources. And then that board is going to be a true governing body in that they will appoint an executive director who will be the chief administrative officer of the organization to run the day-to-day affairs of the organization. And by being able to access resources, we can pay somebody to do that job. Once you pay somebody to do that job, it means when you call the OLM office, you expect the telephone to be answered. When you have a problem, you expect somebody to be able to get in a car and see to your problem without saying, my man, I got to go do my job, or hold it away from me. No way can an organization be effective without resources. And this structure and the composition will be very key in getting us the resources that we need to move forward, to move this organization to the next level. Once we have that and have resources in place, we'll be empowered. We also need competence. People who know what needs to be done, they know how it needs to be done, and then they have the discipline to do what needs to be done. Because sometimes people can know what needs to be done, but they don't have the discipline or the commitment. So they turn their back on the right process and go and do something else because it's easier to do. Being disciplined and focused is not an easy thing. It's work, it's challenge. Many of you here have other things to do today that will be more fun, will be easier to do. I also have things to do that would be easier for me to do, would be more fun. But we have a community at stake, so we have to make the hard choices. That's what discipline is about. That's what I mean about having the discipline and the commitment to do what needs to be done. We need to bring those people on board into the organization. We need to give them appropriate guidance. We need to have a structure that works. We need to motivate them properly. We need to communicate well among people. Because sometimes you bring the best people on board. If you don't communicate properly, you don't motivate them properly, you don't follow discipline, they get disenchanted and they slack off or they leave. So that's a very critical element of the leadership process. Making sure, first of all, we are committed to our vision, making sure that we have the right people to carry out that vision, and making sure that the community, the constituents, are brought along in executing that vision so that they, the community, can be willing to participate. Then we don't have to hear about the community field of leadership, because I have a different philosophy of organization and leadership. The buck starts at the head. Whatever goes wrong in the organization under my leadership, I take responsibility. With that kind of structure in place, with the funding, we'll have the capacity to provide the services that our people need. Services that will make them feel relevant. Services that will bring us together as Liberians. Services that will make us proud to walk by and say, yes, my organization is doing this. When you are in social gatherings with people from other communities, to be proud to say that we are doing this, because the Somalis are very proud when they speak of what they are doing. And there's no reason for us, who are culturally, linguistically closer to the United States, have been migrating to this country since the 60s. There's no reason for us to be underperforming the Somalis who just came here in 1990. I want to appeal to you all to look deep inside of yourself and to look at the commitment that you can bring to the table to achieve this vision. I want to listen to you. I want your input into the process. And I want to appeal to you to understand this is hard work. Not only is it hard work, but it's work that requires working smart, mental discipline, focus, anticipation, adjustment. We all must bring that to the table. We must feed off of each other, share with each other, and understand that we are in the same boat, and also understand that we do not have a monopoly on the best ideas. I will be the first to admit to you that I do not have a monopoly on the best ideas. This is why I've asked you, invited you all here to this meeting to form the foundation of what we want to achieve and to understand that you are truly the building block for what we're trying to do, and to be prepared to make your commitment so that from the building blocks we can lay the foundation, we can build the wall, and we can put up the roof, and tomorrow we'll be proud of what we have achieved. I thank you very much for coming. In order to move this process forward, what we have done is to establish an exploratory committee.